Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Triffy. Thank you for joining me for my first ever Books of Light offering. Books of Light. So, I am reading in these Books of Light sessions. I am reading from psychological and spiritual books with the hope that we could all get some insight that will help us to live life as our highest and our best selves. Psychology has a subdiscipline called spiritual psychology or transpersonal psychology that actually combines spiritual aspects of the human experience with psychology. And so I have found so much strength, personal growth from that school of psychology that I have decided to share some of that with you. And tonight I'm starting with this book called Spiritual Growth, which actually is titled Being Your Higher Self. The author is Sanaya Roman. I chose this book to start because we all start somewhere, right? And we got to crawl before we walk. All of us do. I went through a period in my 30s that I've shared live here with many people where I was transitioning from being married and having the support of a spouse to now being single, alone, essentially, with 2 kids under the age of 5. At the same time, I was trying to do my doctoral degree in psychology. I was also trying and starting to build a business. And I was working all of that at the same time. And it got to be really, it felt overwhelming. It felt overwhelming. And there were many points where I wasn't sure I'd be able to complete the journey because this is a journey. Life is a journey. So thank God for Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble became my little watering hole. And I would go in the personal development and self transformation sections and just kind of comb through the shelves and see what today was hitting me as far as what I felt like I needed. And this book is one of those that hit me really early. And so I'm going to share it. And because life is so awesome these days that material information stays. Information stays online. I'm hoping that whenever you come upon this, you see the name of the book. It's called Spiritual Growth. See the author, Sanaya Roman. The title of the book essentially is How to Be Your Higher Self. And I'm choosing a section from the book because it was so pertinent to my life. Because I used to think that success had to hurt, that if something didn't hurt, if I didn't work hard for it, it wasn't worth much. So the section I'm reading says, you can grow with joy rather than struggle. You can grow with joy rather than struggle. It doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to feel bad. If you believe that growth comes from struggle, the author says, you will create crises by which to grow. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to dissolve any negative pictures you have about growth. Give yourself permission to have valuable and worthwhile things, such as your spiritual growth, and see those things come easily. It takes far less time and energy to grow through joy than to grow through struggle. Some people enjoy telling stories of how hard something was for them, as if their struggle was an accomplishment. How much more fun it would be to trade stories about how easily things came. You do not have to work hard day and night, feel exhausted, or surmount incredible odds and obstacles to have worthwhile achievements and grow spiritually. Some of you worry when things get too easy. As you increase your vibration, things will get easier. The challenge lies not in how hard things are, but in how expansive you can make your vision and how much can be accomplished with economy of energy, joy, and creative intent. If you have a situation in your life right now that is less joyful than you want it to be, realize that it is teaching you important lessons. If you are in a crisis, you may be reaching inward to the deepest part of your being and gaining a new strength and courage. You can choose to learn these lessons and gain these qualities with joy. I'm going to read that again. You can choose to learn these lessons and gain these qualities with joy. Simply stop for a moment and make the decision to do so. Things may not change overnight, but they will change. Your higher self will begin to create circumstances that allow you to experience the same growth through joy that in the past you created through struggle. I want to share with you like maybe 5 minutes of how that really played itself out in my life. I used to work like a little dog, like a dog, like a dog, like a dog. And at the time when I was starting off, I felt like I had to do everything alone and in physical form. When I say in physical form, I mean like I had to expend physical energy, a lot of physical energy. As I started reading this book, which is filled with meditations at the end, real practices that you can begin to use, I started realizing that a lot of what I was creating could be created in my mind. In my mind first. In my mind first. And I started learning how to raise my vibrational energy to meet what I was trying to create. One of my biggest lessons has been that the sadder and the downer and the more I am in my more painful feelings, the less I can create at a higher level. The sadder, the angrier, the more frustrated, the more burdened I feel. No matter how much I tell myself, I want this, I'm doing this, I'm going to succeed here. A change has to happen in my emotional state first so I can bring my energy up, raise my vibration upwards. And a lot of the success I have seen in my life has come from understanding how to do that. I am very serious about this. One of the principles of life is the all is mind. Everything is mental. The universe is mental. And so if you want to create, you got to start here. See it. See it. Down to the last detail. Visualize it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel the experience and the emotions that you expect when you receive that, whatever it is you're trying to create first. You got to feel it first because The feeling raises your vibration. And we create, with that kind of upward energy, we create good things with that. Success starts coming to you way easier than when you're working at it like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Oh, this is too much. They're doing too much. They're giving me too much. And you might be physically strong, but that emotional energy is not what you need to create with ease. So you'll keep finding yourself at the bottom, struggling, one step up, next you fall down. If you're not watching the mental game, the mental game. So it's about raising your vibration. And when people say vibration, they're talking about energy. They're talking about, and when your emotions are a very, 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 very critical part of that vibrational energy system. Okay, so if you want to create positive, the emotions that you're focusing on, that you're keeping inside of your body, you want them to be positive. Now, how can you be positive in the midst of chaos, where you're feeling overwhelmed and you're sad, and your husband just left and you've got 2 kids? Well, what you do is you go into prayer and you go into meditation often. You go into prayer, you go into meditation, you read books like this often. Because yes, sometimes there are so many things coming at you that as a human being, your emotional vibration will go down because your brain is producing these neurotransmitters that are making you feel sad or anxious or afraid or angry. The problem is you are delaying success in your life with the things you've identified that you want to create if you're staying at that emotional vibration. So when you're sad, what you do, again, like I say, if you're overwhelmed, prayer, meditation, you put on a tape, well, not tape anymore, but you go to YouTube, you put on a meditation, you put on a CD, you put on a music that lifts your energy. You go take a walk around the lake, you play with your animals, you give your kids a hug, your spouse a hug, to raise your emotional vibration. I'm starting to think that one of the biggest ways that we stay like just stuck is because of those feelings of ours that we have not yet learned how to shift. There are times when you have to learn how to change from one emotional state to another. There's a principle of mindfulness, yes, which says be present, acknowledge your feelings. But even within mindfulness is something called acceptance and commitment therapy, which says accept what you're feeling, but make a commitment to change or to do it in a different way. So become aware of what you're feeling, because that's kind of like the fuel for your success. Think about it. Think about it. When you're sad, do you feel like getting up and creating? Not much. But if in your life there are these really painful events happening, well, what are you to do? What you are to do, what you are to do is to learn how to shift, okay, your energetic vibration. You must learn how to shift, and you can. It is very easy with practice. It's very easy with practice. So, the name of the book is Spiritual Growth And I read this book until I read it once, I read it twice. I didn't understand some of it. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Make myself shift. I don't understand this. I would go back and read it again. I would practice the meditation. I would read it again, practice the meditation until I understood. Until I understood. I was thinking about this today. You all know reading can be a revolutionary act. Reading can be a revolutionary act. Over the course of history, there have been many book burnings, haven't there? You ever wonder why people burn books? Why do you think people burn books? You have these people come in and they conquer and they burn the books. Why do they burn the books? And why do people tell you you should not read a certain book? Don't read that book. Well, how do they know what's in the book to tell you don't read the book? Have they read the book so they know what's in the book? Have they read the book? So, one of the most impactful, life-changing activities I've done in this little life is to learn. And you can't learn everything in school. You cannot learn everything in school. You got to go. You got to go and start finding what resonates with you. What do I need right now? What input do I need right now to help me? And go find a book. If you're not excited about reading, listen to it on tape. Listen to an audio version. Okay? Listen to an audio version. So I want to offer you this book. It's number 1, my first book of light. And I'm offering it because it revolutionized my life in a spiritual way and put me on a path to release a lot of the burden, some feeling I felt. Again, like I said, newly single, feeling overwhelmed with doing 4 or 5 full-time occupations, really, simultaneously. And so when life is coming at you hard like that, you must, this mind of yours, because the universe is mental, this mind of yours is where you go to start to redirect the traffic. Okay? You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. I think many people say, well, oh, that's confusing. It was confusing to me in the beginning. Like I said, a lot of these concepts, I was like, what does that mean? Higher self. Higher self? Your higher self is the part of you that always knows what's in your best interest. Everything has its highest point and its lowest point. You have your highest self. There's a part of you that is the wisest part of you. So that's the part. That's the part you're connecting with. That part that knows why you're here. That part that knows your purpose on the planet. That part that tries to connect and go higher, even to divine. So that if you have an interest in living from that part of yourself, trust me, life is so challenging. It takes a lot of intention and practice and work. And even when you do that, we're still not perfect. Okay, so although it is aspirational to reach for perfection, we have to keep at it. We have to keep at it. Okay, because yes, we have that highest self, but we also have that lowest self. And it's okay. No judgment. It is what it is. That's how we were built. But you have so much more power to do this than you realize. And there's so many resources. There's so many people who are living this way and are able to transpose what they've lived through onto books. So I'm going to encourage you to locate that book. Go on YouTube, Google it. If it speaks to you, try to get a copy. Okay. I I'm preparing to meet with Moki Wallace in about 40 minutes. I'm talking with him about his baby girl. Today is 6 years since she passed away, and she was a baby when she did. So we're just hashing it up about moving through this life and raising our vibration on days like this when it feels really heavy. There are things we can do. Okay. So, Facebook user, good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes, when you're sad, it's a messed up feeling. And it is one of those emotions that it feels very heavy. And so you got to start here, mentally decide, what am I going to do with this? And you can do whatever you want to with it. If you want to be creating and that feeling is very present very often, you must make a decision about what you're going to do with that feeling. Okay? Or else it will keep getting in the way. And success is very likely going to feel very cumbersome, very heavy, very challenging. Okay? So the book is Spiritual Growth by Sanaya Roman, Being Your Higher Self. And again, everybody's got a highest and a lowest. The goal, the aim is to go up, is to go up. Okay? And work from our highest and best selves. So I will see you all tomorrow. We're talking about communication and those four baby skills that'll get in the way. And if they're showing up in your relationship, you better look out. So tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk more about it. Bye.